Village of Manlius. Our Commissioner of DOT, Marty Voss, is here. Our Emergency Management Commissioner, Dan Weirs, is here, as is our Deputy County Executive, Brian Donnelly. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Right now, there is a salt shortage throughout the Northeast. From a procurement standpoint, we work and we procure contracts. We have a very favorable contract with a vendor. The towns and villages essentially will buy off our contract. The state of New York has a contract. Various communities will buy off the state of New York contract. Needless to say, with the long and unpredictable weather that we've had, we are running into capacity challenges. The challenges are not because anybody is not ordering or trying to have salt stored for weeks at a time or months at a time. There just isn't enough salt right now because of what we're seeing. How this impacts us is we're a team, from village government to town government to county government to state government. We have agreements with each other where that within each jurisdiction we will plow each other's roads where that makes sense. The County of Onondaga will plow state roads. Within towns and villages where we have county roads, we contract with our partners to help us there. What we are doing now is we are working with all of our partners, understanding the inventory challenges that they have, and looking to procure additional resources in additional contracts, which is not easy. And we're looking at that so that we can get through really what we know at least to be 2 or 3 more weather events in the immediate future, meaning a week. We do have options in the event that there is not reinforcements from the procured vendors for salt, where you can break down. That is not ideal for infrastructure. That is a worst case scenario and a last case scenario, but it's one we will do. But overall, what I think the public should expect, we have an event where we're likely going to get some icing over the next 24 hours. That requires a lot of salt, right? Plows can go out, but we can plow snow. It's tough to plow ice. So certainly we're working with our teams to make sure that is done efficiently, effectively, but at the same time, I'm asking the community to understand to give yourself more time to get from point A to point B. If you're on side streets in a town or in a village, it may take longer for a plow to get to you, and certainly patterns are going to have to be addressed as this issue moves forward to make sure that key thoroughfares are taken care of. And so we ask the public for some grace for all of our partners who are out there working long hours now to keep our roads safe. Like I said, we are going to work to procure other sources nationally to try to get more salt in the community. And we've been effectively reaching out to our partners in the state government. They've been great partners with our local state DOT department, but certainly any additional salt resources that the state of New York can help us provide, we would welcome that. But overall, this is impacting us. This is going to be managed on a weekly basis. The governments are going to work together to get through it and make sure. And we know that we have a lake effect snowstorm warning for the weekend, which could be 4 inches to 12 inches to 16. We don't know. And we know that at least right now it looks like for the next few weeks, winter is still going to be here. So the public should look at the fact that it's going to take a little bit longer to get from point A to point B. Everybody's doing their best, and certainly there could be disruptions in what are normal snowplow routes if the salt shortage is not certainly addressed in short order. Saying that, happy to take any questions.
So I'm wondering, do we know the amount of salt that the county has left? Is that a number that you have?
We've done an inventory. We're not going to get into numbers because a number for one community means something completely different for another. A village could have 15 days, but that 15 days is worth half a day in a town, right? So that doesn't matter. What we know is that we're going week to week right now, and that's what we know. Right now out of our supply, and again we have vendors, And they're still giving us salt. They're just not giving us as much as we would like. Certainly I know that we've given the green light to some of our partners who plow our roads, that if you get low, you can use the salt or the sand mix on the roads to make sure that it gets done. We've given the green light for that. That's our infrastructure. I also spoke to the mayor of the city of Syracuse. Right now, the city of Syracuse is also in a similar situation. They do have salt inventory. Maybe they're a little bit better positioned right now than others, which is good. But we're going to be working together, managing this together. But this is going to be a week-to-week issue until we start seeing the beautiful sunshine and warmer weather.
Are there specific communities that are seeing more of the shortage?
We're very lucky in our community that we've had a very stable vendor. We have get to as much as we can. That there's just a shortage, right? This is, we've had some pretty obscene weather, and certainly these are winters of old in central New York, not what we've had for the last 2 years. And most shops had salt stored for the last. Save became aggressive with us this winter, and now we're at the point where it may have an impact on our ability to plow the roads in a manner that we are typically used to plowing. And so we're communicating, we're answering questions, and we're going to keep the public briefed.
Do you know what that vendor's name is?
I'm not going to get into my vendor right now. We're not doing that. They're under a lot of pressure.
Orders that have been put in for about the last 2 weeks, can you see them being fulfilled in the near future?
I don't know what the vendor's capacity is to fill various orders. I know they're working. I know that we're going to get some more material, and it's not that they are not getting us, as you're aware, material. They're just not getting us what we need, right? And so we don't know what we don't know. What we are doing is we're working to procure other sources. We think we have some success. Some of those sources certainly aren't at the same cost that our current vendor is.
So there's varying responsibilities for varying roads. As it stands, do you feel confident that roads like 690 and 81 and Erie Boulevard, that those can remain salted through this coming week at least?
Yeah, so New York State's going to go the thruway, the highways. Certainly they have a level of ranking and pull with their vendors on their contracts. We plow a lot of the state roads within the county proper, so think of Route 31, 20, 11, others. Those are all roads that we take on, and because we take those on, we need our village partners and our town partners to take on our roads within their municipalities. And so overall, we're going to get the job done. But what may happen is if you are in a town and their department's under stress, and they only have so much salt, they're going to take care of the main thoroughfares. If you have a little, I'm a city guy, Tim. This isn't news, right? Sometimes our side streets don't get plowed for a little while, right? Could that happen in a town or a village? Yeah, it could. Hopefully, it's temporary, and it's not the fault of the highway departments in those communities. It's literally a resource issue. But we're going to make sure things are safe. We're going to exercise and utilize the salt we have. After that, if we run out of salt, we're going to be using sand, and sand with mixture of chemicals, which has the same effect as salt. That's not great for us later on when we got to clean up the mess. But we're prepared to do what we need to do. At the same time, we've been working for weeks to try to procure other sources. We think we're having some success. But again, this is the eastern part of the country, mid-Atlantic to the northeast, is everyone's in the same boat here.
Is the mess from the sand or from the chemicals?
The sand.
The sand.
Yeah.
Crews in central New York, Onondaga County, are often highly touted as some of the best in the country. Can you speak a little bit about efforts this year in kind of a heightened winter season to keep what you've seen from them?
Well, they are the best. They got the most experience, right? So they know their routes. They know what to do. They know the weather, the lake effect in some communities would be a foreign word, not here. So we have great workers. They've been out there. They've been getting slammed, absolutely getting slammed. And so I feel bad, that the workforce is as busy as they are, even though they're being compensated for that. But the grace we need from the community is that it may take longer to get from point A to point B. And if you're on a side street in a community, if it's taking a little bit longer, it's not because people aren't out there working. It's because literally they don't have the material to do the job effectively at times. So I think that's just, this is about informing everybody. We got more weather coming, and there's probably going to be more weather in a week. And part of the tool that we use to make sure that these roads are safe is scarce at the moment. So we need to keep the public informed.
And you're still getting deliveries? They're just
We're getting
small?
deliveries. We're not getting what we're ordering, right? So we're still getting deliveries. That wouldn't be in like I said, we have a very strong contract. That wouldn't be in the company's interest. But they can only do what they can do. I think overall, this, if it was easy to get salt here from the West Coast, we probably would. It's just not easy. And so I think overall, this is going to be hopefully a moment in time for the next 2 to 3 weeks, and hopefully the weather will lighten up with us too, and allow some of these different mines across the state in the Northeast to kind of get their sea legs again.
Have we run into this before in years past?
Not since I've been your favorite county executive, Tim. So, Marty, can you think of a time?
No, not really. I mean,
commissioner?
Brian might be able to speak to
Brian?
that just before me. We haven't had this problem since I've been.
Yeah, it's, unfortunately we have, but it's been quite a while. I want to say back in 14 or 15, we had a similar circumstance where the weather precluded the mine from being able to keep up. But it's relatively rare.
Was there any signs of this kind of shortage kind of coming about and being an issue early in the winter, or is this something that's developed over the past couple of weeks?
Hard to tell, right? You don't know what the weather's going to be. The last few years, our guys that are DOT shops were complaining they weren't getting enough overtime. There wasn't any snow to plow, so we had 2 really, really light years. Now we have a really, really harsh and active year. And again, oftentimes it's not the snow. A plow can still plow snow. It's the ice. And so I think, paying attention, to what the weather is the next few weeks, let's make sure that we are giving ourselves more time to get from point A to point B, and just being a little bit smart. If this weekend, if it are very hard, once you get more than 2 inches an hour, we can't keep up with that, right? So 1 inch an hour, 1.5 inches an hour, yeah, but we can't after 2 inches an hour. So pounded with snow.
You mentioned some state help. I'm wondering, with this icing event in the next 24 hours, is there anything that will to help?
Yeah, we reached out to the state. They're in the same position. This is happening in every county across New York State, probably with the exception of the downstate counties in New York City. But we're happy to take in more salt from the state of New York if they have some to spare.
And have they indicated that they have?
I think they're struggling as well. I think that locally our teams have talked to the state DOT teams. We're going to make sure that we got each other's back as much as we can, just like we will with our towns and villages in the city if necessary.
The superintendents met today, and just so everybody knows, there is towns already that are just doing intersections and hills. So, people should be aware of that. Save them salt. That's the thing.
Other questions?
Thank you.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Tim, I did not touch